Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Leveraging Data to Achieve Organizational Sustainability Goals webinar. I would now like to introduce the presenters today, James Leonard and Lauren Potechin, who are going to take you through a presentation. Thank you for joining.
Great, thank you very much. So just do it, another one from me. So good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. And again, welcome to today's webinar entitled Leveraging Data to Achieve Organizational Sustainability Goals. My name is James Leonard. I'm joined by my colleague Lauren today. We're both data and analytics and BI consultants for Thorogood, and I also lead our sustainability practice. So for the agenda for today's session, we'll start off with a bit about Thorogood and who we are. Then what we'll do is set the stage for the sustainability challenges we face as a planet. We'll also talk about what sustainability trends we're seeing in the data and analytics industry. From there, we'll focus on how data can help tackle the sustainability challenges, and then finish off today's session by talking through the next steps. So for those of you in the room who aren't familiar with Thorogood, we're a specialist data engineering, data science, and data visualization consultancy with over 30 years of experience delivering data solutions to leading enterprise organizations. The solutions we deliver are still based on our founding principle. That is, by always locking onto the business goals and then unleashing the technical and analytics capabilities, we can maximize the opportunities from those business objectives. We maintain this business focus across a range of delivery areas, right through from initial strategies and roadmaps, proof of concept and pilot delivery, to the full solution implementation and the wider rollout of that solution. We do this by not only maintaining solutions, but empowering individuals and the organizations that they work for to use the tools that we create. In terms of the technologies we work with, we're an independent consulting firm, meaning we don't work with one specific technology. We do, however, work with and partner with many of the key players in the market in order to provide our clients with the solution that best suits their needs. And as we'll see later on, many of these partners are orientating and driving themselves towards sustainable businesses. So let's start with the main content. As many of you will be aware, sustainability is becoming a mainstay of the societal narrative. We see and hear about environmental challenges and their impact on a daily basis. The new Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, Climate Assessment Report released in August of this year has finally stated in the most absolute terms that anthropogenic emissions are the cause behind global warming, and that we have no time left in the effort to keep temperature from crossing the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold. If we fail to take immediate action, we can easily exceed 2 degrees Celsius by the middle of the century. Sustainability and the increasingly urgent need for climate action is playing an ever greater role across the political landscape, with more countries committing to sustainability goals that present encouraging initial steps towards a viable stabilization path. This shift is causing a transformation in the way businesses are addressing sustainability in their value chain from a political and social context. Governments are increasing business reporting requirements and regulations. Investors are applying more and more pressure, and consumers are demanding sustainable options. So companies really have no choice but to consider their place, role, and response to the sustainable revolution. These pressures will only increase as the global impact and disruption caused by climate change continues to exponentially increase over the next few years. COP26, the UN Climate Change Conference, takes place next month, putting a greater focus on what the next steps will be. In this case, specifically, the conference aims to secure global net zero by mid-century and keep 1.5 degrees within reach, drive adaptations to protect communities and natural habitats, mobilize finance and the wider finance community, and then work together by accelerating action to tackle the climate crisis through collaboration between governments, business, and civil society. The challenge that we face is unprecedented. To confront this awesome challenge is a task for coordinated international effort, well beyond the scale of any global challenge that humanity has faced to date, and vastly more significant. To begin to respond effectively, the key to tackling these challenges is embedded in organizational digital transformation. For organizations to rise to the challenge, they fundamentally must understand and be able to quantify their impact on the environment and then how to reverse and/or mitigate it. Successful implementation of data and AI solutions to tackle climate change will be determined by the extent to which organizations are able to collect, manage, analyze, and act upon their sustainability data in a timely fashion over the next few years. The first steps for organizations will be identifying and collecting the required data. New challenges will require the use of new data sets that organizations may not have ever analyzed or collected before. Therefore, data ingestion, storage, and processing will be a major initial hurdle. The nature and granularity of the data sets will need to include everything from carbon equivalent data, supplier FSC PFC certifications, how much water consumers use with the product, to even the type of truck used to ship a product as well. These types of data sets will suffice to provide an initial view, as reporting and disclosure requirements are still being rolled out. However, as organizations become more sophisticated at tracking and analyzing their impact, they will need more accurate data at a much higher velocity. IoT devices combined with AI will enable greater pseudo real-time capabilities for tracking and responding at a greater scale. For example, being able to track fuel consumption in real time, or understand and varying the current power use of an office building to save energy. Technology holds an incredible potential to power a sustainable transformation by increasing the productivity of systems while simultaneously lowering emissions, reducing waste, monitoring resources, collecting and harnessing vast amounts of data, and making breakthrough advances to drive the sustainability agenda much further across all sectors. The immediate need will be the creation of holistic data platforms that are able to combine internal and external data sets across a range of different formats and a different set of velocities. Once the architectures and data platforms are established, there'll be a need for products and applications that can use all of this data to understand, analyze, and drive action. Thorogood has worked with world-leading organizations to help build out sustainability data platforms and then the applications that drive action. Our aim as an organization, alongside our commitments to our own sustainability, is to work with world-leading organizations to continue to help them and others achieve their sustainability initiatives. So what I wanted to speak about next was some of the key sustainability trends that we've been seeing across the technology platforms and vendors that are most relevant to data and analytics. In the last few years, many notable companies in the data and AI space have publicly acknowledged the world is in a climate crisis, and that the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is the most urgent issue facing humanity today, and the time to act boldly is now. More and more tech companies are making commitments to their own sustainability and offering services and solutions to help their customers become more sustainable, and build those sustainable platforms. So first of all, Microsoft. By 2030, Microsoft will be carbon negative, and by 2050, Microsoft will remove from the environment all the carbon the company has emitted either directly or by electrical consumption since it was founded in 1975. Google is already carbon neutral today, but aiming higher. Their goal is to run on carbon-free energy 24/7 at all of their data centers by 2030. Plus, they are sharing technology, methods, and funding to enable organizations around the world to transition to more carbon-free and sustainable systems. Databricks is moving the needle in its work across environmental, social, and governance initiatives using data and AI applications, leveraging their advanced data engineering and data science capabilities to offer cutting-edge approaches for their customers to use. Salesforce is net zero. It delivers a carbon-neutral cloud, achieves 100% renewable energy for their operations, and is a founding partner of OneT.org. The newly launched Salesforce Sustainability Cloud offers a number of out-of-the-box solutions to help customers tackle their sustainability challenges. And then finally, Amazon. Amazon in 2019 co-founded the Climate Pledge, a commitment to achieve net zero carbon emissions across their businesses by 2040, and to invite others to sign on to this new level of ambition. They've committed to 100% renewable energy by 2025, making 50% of all shipments net zero carbon by 2030, and net zero carbon emissions across their operations by 2040. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Lauren to start to discuss how we can use these technologies to apply data and AI applications to sustainability challenges.
All right, thank you, James. I will now talk about how to leverage data to achieve your sustainability goals by highlighting some of the common challenges and solutions based off of our experiences in this space. First, let's discuss some of the challenges you need to overcome. When it comes to the intersection between sustainability and data, several challenges arise. The types of challenges you may face largely depend on your organization's goals and where you are in your sustainability journey. In terms of sustainability itself, there's a huge lack of standardization. the definition of concepts like net zero and carbon neutral aren't consistent or regulated. There's no single governing body that determines what it means to be a green business. This inconsistency allows for things like greenwashing, where companies use sustainability as leverage for marketing when they really aren't taking any meaningful action. Another challenge with sustainability is the decision to reduce carbon emissions versus offsetting them. Offsetting emissions is a quick and easy step towards becoming sustainable, but it is not equivalent to reduction. Investing in an offset program that protects trees is less meaningful than producing less carbon for those trees to absorb. There are also challenges surrounding how to implement sustainability at your organization. When you set your sustainability goals, do you start by setting short-term or long-term goals? What areas of your business do you focus on making more eco-friendly? It could be your operations, like the energy and water used by your offices, or your suppliers and the raw materials in your products, or something else. How do you know where the highest value opportunity is? And then once you do decide on a sustainability initiative, how do you ingrain sustainability into all segments of the business instead of just relying on a sustainability team or one department? These are just some of the challenges to consider as you develop your sustainability strategy. The incorporation of data into sustainability initiatives also presents its own challenges. The first is getting the data and bringing it all together. These aren't typical data sets that have been used in a lot of the traditional reporting use cases. At the heart of the challenge is identifying, collecting, and combining both internal and external data sets. Some examples of this are internal data sets to identify what are the packaging materials in a product, or external data sets to find the carbon equivalent for shipping a product 6 miles on a 6-axle truck. Then you think about the quality of this data. Some data sets might have manual input information, which is prone to error. In this case, data validation is a very important aspect of your data model. Of course, the frequency of the data for all of the different data sources is a huge challenge. In packaging reports, the bill of material information provided by different suppliers isn't given at the same time. Another example is recycle rates, which don't have a defined cadence of change. So automating, aggregating, and reporting become a key challenge to provide consistent and insightful reporting. Then in some cases, you can't get all of the data. So there's the concept of data extrapolation. In the CPG industry, for example, you need to find representative SKUs that can be used to model the entire portfolio and provide the comparative point to drive improvement. Once you've turned this data into something usable, you have to define how to report it. You need to meet the needs for improvement, but also for regulatory reporting. You can configure this in the definition of your KPIs and how you report. For example, reporting total waste footprint in tons isn't useful. You can save tons of waste by using less dense materials, not more carbon neutral ones. You can also decrease waste by selling less, so measuring it in relative terms becomes important. For these reports, the flexibility of data structures is also really important. They need to be able to accommodate the addition or editing of data like changes in suppliers, introductions of new retailers, or extension to new markets. So, what are some actions that your organization can take to alleviate these challenges? The first is moving from a siloed structure to a cooperative model. The tracking and modeling used for sustainability initiatives incorporates data from different departments, which is pooled into one data set to formulate a holistic view of the entire organization. The unified data set wouldn't be possible if data is stored in silos where it is isolated and not easily accessible to everyone. Additionally, all departments need to work as equal stakeholders in strategy and execution in order to give the data meaning. Therefore, it's crucial to transition both your data structure and your organizational structure to a model where departments and their data are intertwined. The next executable action is having end-to-end visibility. Enterprise organizations like CPG companies collect massive amounts of data throughout a product lifecycle, from procurement of the raw materials to consumption by the customer. Reaching ambitious sustainability targets, such as having net zero carbon emissions, requires a granular level of detail from end to end. For example, a CPG company needs to know exactly how much carbon is emitted in each step of the production cycle in order to pinpoint where the largest emissions are being produced so that the business can form an effective carbon reduction strategy. Lastly, your organization can incorporate external references. As discussed earlier, lack of standardization is a big challenge in setting and achieving sustainability goals. So it's key to understand the standards that do exist and incorporate external sources like reference lists, accepted conversion factors, and standardized datasets in your organization's strategy and analysis. Comparing your organization's internal processes against the stipulations and guidelines of governments and certifying bodies is the first step in making sure that you're making meaningful progress towards your sustainability initiatives. Before you can carry out these actions, there are some requirements to consider when you're choosing the tools and data structures that will support your sustainability goals. First, you need scale. End-to-end visibility requires massive amounts of data, and so your tools need to handle big data seamlessly and be able to model it together for that unified dataset. Secondly, you need auditability. Regulatory reporting is a big part of sustainability initiatives, and it is important that those reports are accurate. Therefore, your data processes need to allow for auditing of the data so that you are certain that your reports are outputting correctly. So, what do some of these actions look like in practice? One use case involves building a sustainability data layer on top of an existing data lakehouse for regulatory reporting. Lakehouses combine the best features of both data lakes and data warehouses, and they work well for organizing the sustainability initiatives of enterprises. Building a democratized analytical data layer for sustainability insights provides many benefits. This model delivers a comprehensive and coherent set of information that details environmental footprint information across business units and functions. It combines detailed, granular data from different business subsegments to provide an end-to-end view of a lifecycle. The master data lake defines relationships between the data, and then the data is used to support decisions on environmental initiatives. This data structure benefits the business by providing a universal version of truth in a detailed information model. It takes large quantities of data and harmonizes them to give you specific insights that you can use to make data-driven sustainability decisions. So all of this culminates in the reporting. Here, I'm showing an example dashboard that monitors key packaging metrics. It helps the user understand progress to global targets and comparison to baseline against the global sales trajectories and targets. With all of these, you can drill into the detail to understand packaging types, brands, and so on. There are several other sustainability initiatives that can be facilitated using data, AI, and ML. Machine learning is an application of AI that provides algorithms to better improve prediction quality by learning from historical data. ML is widely applicable to several areas of environmental sustainability, and we've called out a few areas here that present immense opportunity to transform many industries and businesses. First, ML can be used to inform the research, deployment, and operation of next-generation electricity systems, also known as smart grids. Machine learning can improve the forecasts of demand for clean energy and improve energy system optimization and management. ML can also have an impact on the transportation industry by providing insights like demand forecasts that affect the decisions on the planning, maintenance, and operation of transportation systems. ML will support initiatives like improving vehicle efficiency and moving to alternative fuels. Carbon dioxide removal, which is a very important part of combating climate change, can also benefit from ML. ML can be used to facilitate direct air capture of carbon and sequestering of CO2. Lastly, ML can play a key role in climate prediction, for example, forecasting extreme weather events. This can be particularly useful for companies in the insurance industry. This is by no means an exhaustive list, just a few examples. The bottom line here is that data can be used in several ways to help across all aspects of sustainability. The key to applying ML or AI for any of these use cases will be data collection, management, and maintenance of quality for successful modeling. I am now going to hand it back over to James to talk about how Thorogood specifically can help your organization.
So what I wanted to talk through now are the next steps. So it's clear, hopefully, from that we have to take action, and we have to take action quickly. What I'm now sharing is really our path to help you getting started to take that action. And this is an approach that we've used with a number of organizations. It starts by identifying the best opportunities, and this will be different for each organization, but it's the starting point. Whether it's gearing up for regulatory reporting requirements, understanding your emissions, or reducing packaging waste. The first step is highlighting and recognizing the challenges. Following this, we start with an initiation workshop, which I'll go through in more detail in a second. But really, this will identify the first data and AI initiatives to work on. From here, we start developing the solution to prove the value. So something typically like a 4 to 6 week engagement that will map out the different data sets needed and the velocity of that data to tackle the business goal. What we'll then do is develop an end-to-end solution that can be shared with the business to provide some initial insights. Once the value is proved by that solution, we move into the operationalization and delivery, scaling these solutions across markets and products to tackle sustainability challenges at a global level. If we take a look at the initial workshop in more detail, it really is a simple session to map out ideas and define that next action. We start by understanding the specific sustainability drivers for your organization, bring some of the solutions that we've created before, and then we shortlist those potential candidates. Here we start delving into the candidates, mapping out the business goals and the data required to meet those goals, really with the intention of creating some initial mock-ups to understand what the potential for the solution is. Following this, we finally agree the next steps to turn that initial mapping session into the proof of value. And if something like this is of interest to you, then please do reach out following today's session and we'll be delighted to help. So with that, I'll say thank you very much for attending today's session. Hopefully it was very useful to all of you and have a good rest of your day.